Imagine a city where ambulances, buses, bikes, and cars all have their own place in traffic. At sea, a similar system keeps everyone safe. Welcome to Rule 18 of the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea, or COLREGS. This rule establishes a clear hierarchy among vessels, ensuring that those with the least ability to maneuver get the highest priority. In this video, we'll break down the maritime pecking order, explain why it exists, and show you how it works in real-world situations. Whether you're a Gen Z mariner, a maritime student, or just curious about how ships avoid chaos, this guide is for you. For Rule 18, confusion reigned at sea. Who should give way? Should a small sailboat yield to a massive container ship, or vice versa? The answer wasn't always clear, leading to dangerous situations. Rule 18 eliminates this ambiguity by creating a universal hierarchy based on each vessel's ability to maneuver. It's not about size or speed, but about who can move and who can't. This system protects the most vulnerable vessels and makes navigation predictable and fair for everyone on the water. Rule 18 is built on a simple principle. Those who can maneuver SHOLD maneuver. For those who can't, this isn't just about being polite, it's about physics and safety. If a vessel is physically unable to change course or speed, expecting it to give way is unrealistic. By prioritizing vessels with the greatest constraints, Rule 18 creates a system where everyone knows their place, reducing confusion and preventing collision. Rule 18 isn't absolute. There are three important exceptions: Rule 9 narrow channels, Rule 10 traffic separation schemes, and Rule 13 overtaking. These rules override the vessel hierarchy when specific circumstances apply. For example, in a narrow channel, even a small vessel must not impede a large ship restricted to the channel. Understanding these overrides is critical for safe navigation and avoiding legal trouble. Let's break down the maritime pecking order from highest to lowest priority. At the very top are vessels not under command NUC, followed by those restricted in ability to maneuver RAM, then vessels constrained by draft CBD, fishing vessels, sailing vessels, and finally power-driven vessels PDV at the bottom. Each category has its own definition, signals, and responsibilities. Remember, the higher up you are, the more others must accommodate you. Vessel not under command, or NUC, is unable to maneuver as required due to exceptional circumstances. Think engine or steering failure. These vessels display two all-round red lights at night and two black balls by day. NUC vessels have top priority because they literally cannot move out of the way. If you see a ship showing NUC signals, give them a wide berth and take extra care. Remember, dragging anchor doesn't make you NUC unless you truly can't maneuver. AM vessels are those restricted by the nature of their work, like laying cables, dredging, or conducting underway replenishment. They display three all-round lights, red, white, red, and ball diamond ball shapes by day. RAM vessels can maneuver, but doing so could endanger their operations. Only towing that severely restricts movement qualifies as RAM, and the vessel must display the correct signals. Normal harbor tugs are not automatically RAM. CBD vessels are power-driven ships with limited ability to deviate from course due to their deep draft in shallow or narrow waters. They display three all-round red lights horizontally or a cylinder shape by day. CBDs are a special category. Other vessels should avoid emptying them, but CBDs don't have absolute priority. If a collision risk arises, normal rules apply and both vessels must act to avoid danger. Fishing vessels under Rule 18 are those fishing with gear that restricts their ability to maneuver, like trawls or nets. They display green over white lights or two cones point to point by day. Recreational boats trolling with lines don't count. Fishing vessels have priority over power-driven and sailing vessels, but must give way to NUC and RAM vessels and avoid emptying CBDs if possible. Sailing vessels are under sail alone and not using their engine. They have limited maneuverability compared to power-driven vessels. If the engine is on, even with sails up, the vessel is considered power-driven and loses sailing vessel priority. Sailing vessels must give way to NUC, RAM, and fishing vessels and avoid emptying CBDs if possible. Power-driven vessels must give way to sailing vessels. Power-driven vessels are at the bottom of the hierarchy. They have full control over speed and direction, so they're expected to give way to almost everyone above them. This includes NUC, RAM, fishing, and sailing vessels, and they should avoid emptying CBDs. Examples include container ships, tankers, cruise ships, and recreational motorboats. Remember, among power-driven vessels, other rules apply, like overtaking and crossing situation. Seaplanes and wing and ground WIG craft have their own rules. Seaplanes on water must keep well clear of all vessels and avoid emptying navigation. WIG craft, when taking off or landing, must also keep clear. When operating on the water's surface, WIG craft follow the rules for power-driven vessels. These special categories are designed to minimize interference with normal maritime traffic. Picture a container ship, power-driven, and a racing yacht sailing vessel on crossing courses. According to Rule 18, the container ship must give way to the yacht even though it's much larger. This might seem counterintuitive, but the rule is based on maneuverability, not size. If the yacht was overtaking the container ship, Rule 13 would override Rule 18 and the yacht would have to give way. Imagine a fishing trawler with nets deployed encountering a cargo vessel displaying NUC signals. The fishing vessel must give way to the NUC vessel, even though its own maneuverability is limited. This may require hauling in gear if necessary to avoid a collision. The key is that NUC vessels always have top priority, and everyone else must accommodate them as much as possible. Supertanker constrained by draft is transiting a shallow channel, while a recreational sailboat is crossing ahead. Here, Rule 9 narrow channels and Rule 18 both apply. The sailboat must get out of the way, as small vessels should not impede those that can only navigate within the channel. This is a classic example of override rules taking precedence over the general hierarchy. Two power-driven vessels are in a traffic separation scheme (TSS) lane with one overtaking the other. In this case, Rule 10 TSS and Rule 13 overtaking override Rule 18. The overtaking vessel must give way regardless of the general hierarchy. This highlights the importance of knowing when specific rules take precedence. Tug is towing another vessel through a harbor and a sailing yacht crosses their path. Is the tug a ram vessel? Only if the towing operation severely restricts its ability to maneuver and it's displaying ram signals. If not, it's just a power-driven vessel and the sailing yacht has priority. Always check for the correct signals before assuming special status. Common misconception is that bigger ships always have priority. In reality, Rule 18 is about maneuverability, not size. A small sailing yacht can have priority over a massive container ship if the yacht is under sail and the ship is power-driven. Never assume size grants you the right of way, always check the vessel type and signals. Another mistake is thinking that faster vessels have priority. Rule 18 ignores speed, what matters is maneuverability. A slow-moving sailing vessel still has priority over a fast powerboat. Don't expect others to move just because you're going faster, always follow the hierarchy. Some recreational fishers believe that using trolling lines makes them a fishing vessel under Rule 18. This is incorrect. Only vessels fishing with gear that restricts maneuverability like nets or trawls qualify. If you're trolling with rod and reel, you're just a power-driven or sailing vessel, not a fishing vessel for hierarchy purposes. If you have your sails up but your engine is running, you are considered a power-driven vessel, not a sailing vessel. This is a common trap. The moment you turn on your engine, you lose sailing vessel priority. Always be honest about your vessel's status and display the correct signals. Vessels constrained by draft don't have absolute priority. Other vessels should avoid emptying them, but if a collision risk develops, both must take action. CBDs must navigate with particular caution and can't just barrel through expecting everyone to move. The rules require cooperation and vigilance from all parties. Some mariners forget that Rule 18 is overridden by Rules 9, 10, and 13 in certain situations. For example, in narrow channels, traffic separation schemes, or overtaking scenarios, those specific rules take precedence. Always check if an override applies before relying on the general hierarchy. Not all towing operations make a vessel ram. Only if the towing severely restricts the ability to maneuver and the vessel displays ram signals does it qualify. Normal harbor towing does not grant special status. Always look for the red lights before assuming a tug is ram. Claiming special status like NUC, ram, or fishing without displaying the required lights or shapes is a serious mistake. You must both meet the definition and display the correct signals to claim priority. If you don't, you can't claim special status and may be found at fault in a collision. Violating Rule 18 can have serious consequences. If a power-driven vessel fails to give way to a sailing vessel, it may be found primarily at fault in a collision. Emptying a CBD can result in obstruction charges. Falsely claiming special status can lead to fraud charges and license suspension. Not displaying proper signals or ignoring override rules can result in shared fault and heavy liability. Maritime investigations always check for proper signals and correct application of the hierarchy. Remember the Rule 18 hierarchy, use the acronym NRCFSB. Not under command, restricted ability to maneuver, constrained by draft, fishing, sailing, power-driven, or try the mnemonic, naughty rovers can't find 6 pennies. For override rules, remember Nancy's Tiny Otter 910 overtaking. And for motor sailing, engine on, sailing gone. These tricks make it easier to recall the rules when you need them most. Rule 18's logic applies far beyond ships. In emergency response, ambulances get priority because they can't wait. In traffic, protected lanes help those with limited options. In resource allocation, those with the greatest need get priority. The principle: systems work best when priority is based on objective constraints, not subjective factors like size or speed. This is a lesson in fairness and efficiency for any complex system. As autonomous vessels become reality, Rule 18 is being programmed into AI navigation systems. These systems must identify vessel types, verify displayed signals, and apply the hierarchy correctly. They also need to detect override situations and handle edge cases like motor sailing or special towing. The future of safe navigation depends on both human and artificial intelligence understanding and applying these rules. Rule 18 is elegant in its simplicity. Those who can maneuver should do so for those who can't. The hierarchy isn't arbitrary, it's based on decades of experience and real-world constraints. Know your vessel type, know the hierarchy, and always check for override rules. Whether you're at the helm or programming an autonomous ship, respecting the pecking order keeps everyone safe. At sea, privilege is about constraints, not size or speed. Navigate with knowledge, respect, and responsibility.